Welcome to my marriage gym where we build healthy marriages. My name is Enobasi Unogu. Today my talking points would be verbal assaulting, for want of a better word. I know that's not, might not sound correct like English. This I consider one of the foundational errors of marriages, verbal assaulting. What is verbal assaulting? Verbal assaulting is when a spouse actually, throws punches, verbal punches at the other party, just like boxers would do in the boxing ring. At this time, it's not physical, but it's verbal. You say things that are hurtful, things that are painful to the other person. Verbal assaulting is actually the child of anger, wrong anger management, and lack of good communication skills. It's usually a poor attempt at one party to correct an unanticipated or unknown tendency of the other party. And verbal assaulting for me is a form of bullying. Bullying, using words to bully. When does it start? Usually it starts in the early days and the early years of the relationship. It's in that period that the couple are actually trying to adapt to each other and go through the process of becoming one. It shows up early in the marriage. But usually, because in the early days, faults like this are usually overlooked. Oh, you're still in love, you're still in cloud nine. So it may not really be an issue, but that is where it starts. And that's why the reason why so many marriages, in fact, the highest number of marriages break up is in the first 8 years, because this is the season of adjustment, and when verbal assaulting shows up, sometimes people don't want to continue in the relationship. What are the common responses to this, or how do they manifest? It manifests with cutting, critical, denigrating remarks by one party. Proverbs 12:18 says that these are like thrusts of the sword. You say things that are really so hurtful because you want to correct a character flaw, if I may call it, and it is personalizing the fault or error of the other party. So you hear words like, you're useless, you're good for nothing, waste of space, and words like that. And when this shows up in a marriage, it is very painful. And what are the common responses when this shows up? One of the common responses is fight back, return every insult for insult, fire for fire, and the sparks will be playing in all directions. But usually what this approach does is that it will bring up much more assault, and it can actually result in physical abuse. The second approach is the other party will just retreat for fear of further abuse, and this makes the victim to be isolated. The party that is being abused or bullied, because that's really what it is, would now retreat into his shelf. It doesn't talk, doesn't do things, is apprehensive because it doesn't want to make the wrong move and then get bullied the more. Thirdly, it can lead to withdrawal. The withdrawal can actually be physical. Some people will walk out of the marriage because they can't handle this, and some would opt for separation. I want to leave this home, I can't cope up with this. The most dangerous part is that the victim emerges, and this victim begins to have a victim mentality, and sometimes the victim actually now agrees with the spouse that, yes, maybe I'm just useless. Maybe I don't know how to do anything. Maybe I can never get it right. And what this results in self-pity, self-hatred, lack of self-confidence. Depression can result, sometimes high blood pressure. Some people have actually ended up in the psychiatric home because of the abuse on their psyche. Now, the consequences of this are manifold. It is often overlooked because it is not a verbal abuse. So the party now, assuming that somebody is being abused by the spouse, and it goes to the office of the public defender and say, look, my spouse has been abusing me verbally. I can't cope again. You know, people will say, oh, for real? Did he beat you? They said, no, he didn't beat me. Then they said, girl, you don't even know what happened to Juliet. You are in a good case, so don't worry. But the consequence is that this abuse, it wounds the soul. It wounds the victim at the emotional, psychological, and spiritual level. And this wound is never seen, unfortunately. So people don't address it. People don't think it's an issue. But I believe that verbal assaults or bullying or the damage that it does to a relationship is even much more than the physical abuse, where somebody is beaten and then people say the mark and they say, oh, what happened? They said, oh, Tunde did this to me. But verbal abuse doesn't show up that way. Usually the victim is ashamed to speak up or speak out and say, this is happening to me. And the danger is it is allowed, the wound is allowed to fester. And over time, it becomes an incurable wound. Sometimes it cannot be corrected because it is so deep-seated. And when verbal abuse is not dealt early enough into the marriage, then it becomes a pattern. So the bullying party believes, oh, it's my right to behave the way I behave. And the major consequence is that it robs the marriage of the joy and the fellowship of marriage. And many marriages have broken up as a result of this. How can we correct this? Words are important. And God is interested in the words that we utter, because words carry power. The Bible actually says that life and death is in the power of the tongue, and those that love it, they will eat the fruit thereof. So words are important. We can correct this by beginning to speak wholesome words to our spouse. We can begin to deal with it by speaking up as well. If you're a victim of verbal abusing, I believe the right way to go is to actually speak up and say, this is going on, and seek help where necessary. Ephesians 4:29 says that our words should be good words, not corrupt communication, that we can use for edifying, to build up the other parties. The Bible says somewhere else that our words should be seasoned by salt, with salt, so that it can minister grace to the people that hear it. If you have any questions, insights, or perhaps you're a victim of verbal abuse, please drop me a line at mymarriagegym.blogspot.com.ng. mymarriagegym.blogspot.com.ng. You can also drop me an SMS on 234-802-3062 or an email to mymarriagegym@gmail.com. Keep working on your marriage and it will work for you. Bye.